Hello everybody! Welcome to a brand new series, and I'm calling this the Wild Coast because it's a spawn point in a dark oak forest along a coastline with jungle and monsters everywhere. So many monsters that gotta get off the coastline. And what makes this series a little different is I'm with my friend here, Chuck Ross. What do you do once you've beaten the game and accomplished all your goals? Try doing it with somebody else. Chuck is another YouTuber like myself, and we're both creatives, and we figure let's play a world together and see what kind of shenanigans we can get into and what kind of builds that we can contribute and feed off of each other's creativity. I'm really looking forward to this project and this experiment. It's my first time playing in a multiplayer, and I'm glad to have a guy like Chuck. I've looked at his work, and he's got a very artistic and talented eye. So we started on a coastline, and that coast has a bay in it, and you can see this area is heavily wooded, which is just a dark breeding ground for monsters. The bay was attractive to both of us, and Chuck liked the hillside at one of the corners of the bay. So I'm going to let him have at that, and he'll build a starting base out there. Myself, I moved on, and just down the coastline is a beautiful resource of a bamboo jungle. And that inspired me right away, because I want to build my house, or at least my starting house, at grid coordinate 0, 0. You can see the position we have turned on, and it's displayed at the top left of the screen. And even though the world spawn is at approximately -40 +40, I wanted to build my starting house at 0, 0 and kind of mark that as the center point of my world. That's over water. So my inspiration was to take bamboo and build a stilt house. So we'll go right to 0, 0, and then we'll start building stilt structures. And this is just a starting house, so very basic. Just need a little bit of storage and a safe place to rest. And built some stilts so I can build a platform out of the water. Don't have the resources yet to build an underwater base, but that would be a lot of fun. It's a brand new world though, and you can see I'm still using wooden tools at this time. And my block of choice just for a starting place is bamboo. One of the best blocks in the game in my mind. And it's got a little primitive and natural feel to it. Maroon shipwrecked Robinson Crusoe type of a vibe. And we're just going to build ourselves a bamboo hut on stilts. And it's going to need a little bit of a dock area. If you followed me from my previous 2 seasons, I like my Viking themes. And for this Viking theme, well, part of it that I've done some things that I like, and I'm going to carry on with this one. For example, once I get this house built, I'm going to give myself a little tiny Viking ship as an add-on to my starting base. A bit appropriate that you've explored new lands, and the thought behind it is, how did you get there? By ship. So on top of my posts, I build my platform and light it up with a few torches. And there's not much to it. It's just a bed, a chest, a couple of barrels for additional storage, and a workstation, a crafting bench. Okay, and then docked at my starting base, I'm going to put my starting ship. I'll put a link in the description for a tutorial on how to build this ship, but I want to keep the episode to a reasonable duration of less than 20 minutes. And I'm not going to use up that whole 20 minutes just showing you how to build a basic Viking ship. The design I use is one I created, and I'll just put a link down in the description for anyone that is curious about it. And I welcome you to explore all those things. Okay, that's the center keel, and the rest will be added on. You'll see it as we travel, but the actual construction, there's a link in description. Dress up the house with a couple of paintings for color, and then we moved on. Now, this video is basically a 1-week summary of what I've accomplished in a week. And you can see behind me, I've reclaimed a lot of the land from the dark oak forest, and a whole lot of terraforming, making it flat and usable. And I right away had to address all the materials I was collecting. So I'm making these warehouses. For now, there's just going to be 2 of them. And this first one is complete. Just showing you different chests that are labeled. Lots of dark oak and other wood from the forest, a bunch of wood and stone. And here's the footprint of the warehouse. So these warehouses will allow 44 double chests on each side. That gives me a total of 176. 176 double chests. And this is just my starting base. And that's, in my mind, I hope that's adequate to handle my collection and construction and storage needs. So when I build, I like to build the frame out first. And you can see this is an exact copy of the building next to it. But my process is that I build the frame. And as we've just started, the brick we're using is cobblestone, one of the most common stone blocks, I should say. And with the trees that it's a dark oak forest, I've got an abundance of dark oak for building material, which is a beautiful material to use for building. And dark oak and cobblestone blend well together. So that's a bit of a win. Whoops, framing too far. We'll just trim that back and finish the frame off. Once the frame is complete, just to give it a bit of depth, I'm going to use walls to fill it. Rather than have just a solid blank, featureless wall, I just fill in all those gaps with cobblestone wall. And just gives it that nice little depth for a difference. Similarly, you see that I have put torches along the outside, and we dug out the center and put in wooden planks for flooring. Again, these are dark oak. When in your builds, remember to light them up on the outside and on the inside, because any dark unlit areas are just a breeding ground and spawning ground for monsters. Okay. It's important, I think, to use the materials that you have available, and then it naturally fits into your surroundings. Dark oak buildings fit into dark oak forest settings. If I was in an acacia forest, I'd be using acacia wood, and that would fit with the surroundings nicely. There we go, and the other one's warehouse 1, so this will not stupid fingers. Warehouse number 2, and I'll label it on both sides because Chuck Ross and myself have agreed that we're basically working together and sharing all of our resources for our starting builds and starting village and farms. And we will basically be one cohesive team until we can take out the Ender Dragon. At which time we'll talk about it then if we want to keep building on the same area or branch out and each of us build our own area. But for now, we're starting with nothing and just working together. I've chatted with him, and he's primarily focused on farms right now. It's like food resource farms. And I've got a storage unit over here. I'm not sure if he's going to use his own storage or this one. Either way, it's fine. But if he ever needs anything, the resources are both of us. Similarly, this is a brand new world. The world is infinite in size, and I've talked with Chuck, and if there's any other low-level YouTubers out there that would be interested in joining us, we would accommodate 2 more people at most to join us, so there'd be 4 of us running around instead of just 2 building. If you are interested, just send me a message in the comment section, and I'll get back to you pretty quickly, because the sooner we get you into this, the better, and that way you're helping us build from the beginning instead of jumping into an established world. And if not, Chuck and I are just going to keep on building, keep on creating, keep on having fun. I've got the advantage of already seeing what Chuck has built this week, and there will be a link in the description down below, and I invite you to check him out. He's a creative guy, and I don't want to spoil anything, but he's got some great ideas, and I invite you to check out his channel, and I'll put a link in his first week episode as well. Okay, a little bit of a filler. Hot buildings always have some kind of ventilation in them. And I like windows. Windows make big buildings less dark. So you can see the basic pattern is half slab, full slab, half slab, full slab, repeating to give a nice steady incline and a peaked roof on these buildings. So we'll just fast forward through this in a moment and get on to the next phase of construction. There we go. I like dark oak. It's a great building material. My favorite spruce, but I'll have to hunt for that later. Okay, buildy, block. And then when all that's done, I gotta put some lights up here just so that it doesn't become spawning grounds for monsters. And I'm just gonna stick some torches in inconspicuous, well-spaced out areas so that everything's lit up. And they're not right on the edge, they're set back so that if you're down on the ground you won't even see these torches. And it's just enough that to prevent the spawns. So moving to the interior, we're just going to fill both sides with double chests, and then after the double chests are in place, we're just going to put signs on every one so that we can label the contents of each. And it's 11 long by 4 tall, that's 44 per side, 88 per building, 176 double chests total. And you can see I've got each one of them labeled, and I'll probably put glow squid ink once I get that resource onto the signs to make them easier to read. But for now, that is my warehouses. So we've got our starting ship, our starting house, our warehouses, and as the week went on, we went and started to dig a bit, and you can see I've got some iron. I've got my iron pants, my iron boots, and my iron chest piece. And that's pretty good considering it wasn't long ago when zombies were just beating the crap out of me. So in order to get that iron, I had to dig a mine. And eventually I'll put a cosmetic mine top here, and I'll continue the mine even deeper as we look for diamonds. But at this stage of the game, I want to take a break from mining, and I want to build a ship here. Because if this is a new world where people are exploring and we're harvesting all this lumber and maybe even some stone and shipping it out, we're going to need a ship. and this is the Minecraft ship schematics that you can find on the Minecraft wiki. So sunken ships is what this specifically is. We just reconstruct it, and there it is. And with our resources that are abundant, it's dark oak and oak. And I didn't 100%, I'd say I 95% followed the instructions, because I'm just leaving these interior chambers open so I can make them crew quarters, and later on I'll bring villagers on. And the masts were incomplete, so I just, where I thought it made sense, that's where I stuck masts and gave it a ship's wheel, which is just a smooth stone half slab on a fence post. And I left these rooms empty as well, that I can turn into crew or storage quarters. And that'll be within probably the next week that I'll get that done. And these ships, they're sailing ships, but they're missing sails. I got so many things on the to-do list, but we got to pretty it up, and we had to start somewhere. I've christened this ship the Fair Wind. And my Viking ship is Njord's Grace. Njord is the Viking god of the sea. And those are my 2 starting ships. And do I miss my netherite? Oh, I sure do. But I'm so glad to be starting a new world, and I thank you all for joining me. Hope to see you again, and check out the links in the description. Bye-bye.